Section 125.39d of the National Electrical Code addresses subpanels supplied by a circuit breaker or fuse rated at 100 amps or less. This section dictates that the combined rating of all circuits within the subpanel must not exceed the ampere rating of the supplying overcurrent protection device, meaning the circuit breaker or fuse. So, if the main breaker or fuse feeding your subpanel is rated at 50 amps, the cumulative ampacity of all the branch circuits originating from that subpanel cannot exceed 50 amps. The intent here is to prevent overloading the feeder conductors and the overcurrent protection device protecting the subpanel. It is crucial to calculate the total load that the circuits in the subpanel will carry and ensure that it remains within the 50 amp limit. If the calculated load exceeds 50 amps, you cannot legally supply the subpanel with a 50 amp feed according to the NEC. You would need to increase the size of the feeder conductors and the overcurrent protection device to accommodate the anticipated load. The NEC mandates per section 250.33a that a neutral conductor must be run to every three-phase panel, irrespective of the size of the panel's main breaker or fuse. This requirement is essential for several reasons. Firstly, it ensures that there is a path for unbalanced neutral currents to return to the source. In a three-phase system, if the loads on each phase are not perfectly balanced, a neutral current will flow. This current needs a dedicated path to return to the source to prevent voltage imbalances and potential damage to equipment. Secondly, the neutral conductor provides a stable reference point for voltage measurements. This is important for the proper operation of voltage-sensitive equipment. Thirdly, the neutral conductor plays a crucial role in grounding the electrical system. It is connected to the grounding electrode system at the service entrance, which helps to stabilize the voltage with respect to ground and provides a low impedance path for fault currents to return to the source. The equipment grounding conductor, sometimes incorrectly called the ground wire, can indeed be any wire type approved for use as an equipment grounding conductor according to the NEC. This includes THHN, XHHN, and use conductors. The primary function of the equipment grounding conductor is to provide a low impedance path for fault current to return to the source, thereby tripping the overcurrent protection device such as a circuit breaker or fuse, and energizing the circuit. This is a crucial safety feature that helps to protect people and equipment from electrical shock and fire hazards. The NEC specifies the minimum size of the equipment grounding conductor based on the size of the overcurrent protection device protecting the circuit. It is important to consult the appropriate tables in the NEC to determine the correct size of the equipment grounding conductor for your application. While THHN, XHHN, and use are all acceptable choices, it is important to select a conductor that is suitable for the specific environment in which it will be installed. For example, if the conductor will be exposed to moisture, a wet-rated conductor, such as XHHN, should be used. The temperature rating of underground residential distribution, or URD aluminum conductor, is the same as that of underground service entrance, or use conductor, which is typically 90 degrees Celsius. This temperature rating indicates the maximum temperature that the conductor can withstand under continuous operation without degrading its insulation. It is important to note that the actual operating temperature of the conductor will depend on several factors, including the ambient temperature, the amount of current flowing through the conductor, and the type of insulation used. The NEC specifies the maximum allowable ampacity of conductors based on their temperature rating. It is crucial to select a conductor with a temperature rating that is appropriate for the specific application to ensure that the conductor does not overheat and potentially cause a fire hazard. When installing URD or use conductors, it is important to follow all applicable codes and regulations. These conductors are typically installed underground in a conduit or direct buried. It is important to ensure that the conductors are properly protected from physical damage and that the installation is performed by a qualified electrician. Here are some key considerations regarding NEC Section 125.39d about subpanel feeder limitations. Firstly, understanding the combined rating refers to the total ampacity of all overcurrent devices, circuit breakers or fuses protecting circuits originating from the subpanel. This is not necessarily the same as the actual load being drawn at any given time, but rather the potential maximum load if all circuits were operating at their full rated capacity. Secondly, the intent is to protect the feeder conductors. The feeder conductors are the wires that run from the main panel to the subpanel. These conductors must be sized appropriately to carry the load that the subpanel will draw. If the subpanel is allowed to draw more current than the feeder conductors are rated for, the conductors could overheat and potentially cause a fire. Thirdly, the rule applies to subpanels fed at 100 amps or less. This restriction is specifically targeted at smaller subpanels, often found in residential or small commercial settings. Larger subpanels fed by higher amperage circuits are subject to different requirements within the NEC. Regarding the requirement to run a neutral conductor to a three-phase panel per NEC section 250.3301, even if the equipment connected to the three-phase panel is primarily 240 volts and doesn't seem to require a neutral for its operation, the NEC still mandates a neutral conductor. This is because future modifications or additions to the panel might include equipment that does require a neutral connection. 2. The neutral conductor is bonded to the grounding electrode system at the service entrance, providing a path for fault current to return to the source. This is an essential safety feature that helps to protect people and equipment from electrical shock. 3. The size of the neutral conductor must be adequate to carry the anticipated neutral current. In some cases, the neutral current can be as high as the phase current, so it is important to size the neutral conductor accordingly. Concerning equipment grounding conductors and acceptable wire types, 1. The key requirement is that the equipment grounding conductor is approved for the intended use. This means that it must be listed and labeled by a recognized testing laboratory, such as Underwriters Laboratories, and it must meet the requirements of the NEC. 2. The equipment grounding conductor can be bare or insulated. If it is insulated, the insulation must be green or green with one or more yellow stripes. 3. The size of the equipment grounding conductor must be determined based on the size of the overcurrent protection device protecting the circuit. The NEC provides tables that specify the minimum size of the equipment grounding conductor for various overcurrent protection device ratings. Finally, with URD in use conductor temperature ratings 1, the 90 degrees Celsius temperature rating is a maximum rating. The conductor can operate at lower temperatures, but it should not exceed 90 degrees Celsius under normal operating conditions. 2. The ampacity of the conductor is determined by its temperature rating and the ambient temperature. The NEC provides tables that specify the allowable ampacity of conductors at various temperatures. 3. It is important to ensure that the connections to the conductor are also rated for the same temperature as the conductor. This will help to prevent overheating and potential fire hazards. Understanding subpanel feed limitations based on NEC 125.39d. The combined rating limitation in section 125.39d isn't just about the breaker size, it's about protecting the conductors feeding the subpanel. If you install a subpanel and add circuits that, in total, could draw more than the feed breaker's rating, you're essentially creating a potential overload situation in the wire supplying the subpanel. This overload can lead to overheating, insulation breakdown, and even fires. It is important to calculate your loads accurately. Don't just guess at the amperage draw of your equipment. Use the nameplate ratings in the devices you'll be connecting to the subpanel. Add up all those ampacities. If the total exceeds the rating of your feeder breaker, you have a problem. Implement load management techniques. If you absolutely must have more circuits than your feeder allows, consider using load management devices. These devices can automatically shed less critical loads during peak demand, ensuring that your subpanel never exceeds its rated capacity. Upgrade the feeder. The most straightforward solution, if feasible, is to upgrade the feeder conductors and the associated breaker to a higher amperage rating. However, this might require modifications to the main panel and could be a costly undertaking. Neutral conductor requirements for three-phase panels as per NEC 250.33a. Even with purely 240-volt three-phase equipment, a neutral is still needed. The NEC requirement for a neutral conductor in every three-phase panel, regardless of the connected equipment, stems from a few critical reasons. Ground fault protection. A neutral provides a path for ground fault current to return to the source. This is essential for proper operation of ground fault circuit interrupters, or GFCIs, and other ground fault protection devices. These devices are designed to quickly trip a circuit in the event of a ground fault, preventing electrical shock. Harmonic currents in three-phase systems. Harmonic currents can flow on the neutral conductor. These currents are caused by nonlinear loads, such as electronic devices. If the neutral conductor is not present, these harmonic currents can cause voltage distortion and equipment malfunction. Future flexibility. Even if your current equipment doesn't require a neutral, you might add equipment in the future that does. Installing a neutral conductor now ensures that you'll have the necessary infrastructure in place for future expansion. It is important to size the neutral correctly. The neutral conductor must be sized to carry the maximum anticipated neutral current. In some cases, this can be as high as the phase current. Consult the NEC for specific sizing requirements. Also, consider using an oversized neutral. In situations where harmonic currents are expected, it's often a good idea to use an oversized neutral conductor to minimize voltage distortion. Grounding conductor options and NEC compliance. Understanding the NEC stance on equipment grounding conductors allows for flexibility and safety. The NEC allows for a variety of wire types to be used for equipment grounding conductors, as long as they are approved for the purpose. This means they must be listed and labeled by a recognized testing laboratory and meet the requirements of the NEC. THHN and XHHN are acceptable choices. THHN and XHHN are commonly used building wires that are also suitable for use as equipment grounding conductors. They are readily available and relatively inexpensive. Use conductors for direct burial applications. If the equipment grounding conductor will be buried directly in the ground, use or underground service entrance cable is a good choice. It is designed to withstand the harsh conditions of direct burial. Bare copper conductors offer excellent grounding. Bare copper conductors can also be used as equipment grounding conductors, especially in situations where a very low impedance ground path is desired. Size the grounding conductor appropriately. The size of the equipment grounding conductor must be determined based on the size of the overcurrent protection device protecting the circuit. Consult the NEC for specific sizing requirements. Also, ensure proper connections. All connections to the equipment grounding conductor must be made with approved connectors and must be properly tightened to ensure a good electrical connection. Decoding URD and use conductor temperature ratings. The 90 degrees Celsius rating is a critical factor in determining the safe ampacity of these conductors. The 90 degrees Celsius temperature rating of URD and use conductors is the maximum temperature that the conductor's insulation can withstand under continuous operation without degrading. This rating is important for determining the safe ampacity or current carrying capacity of the conductor. The NEC publishes ampacity tables that specify the allowable ampacity of conductors at various temperatures. These tables are based on the assumption that the conductor is installed in a specific environment, such as free air or in a conduit. Account for ambient temperature. The ambient temperature, or the temperature of the surrounding environment, can affect the operating temperature of the conductor. If the ambient temperature is high, the conductor will run hotter, and its ampacity must be reduced. Consider diluting factors. The NEC provides diluting factors that must be applied to the ampacity of conductors in certain situations, such as when multiple conductors are bundled together or when the conductor is installed in a hot environment. Use appropriate connectors. All connectors used with URD and use conductors must be rated for the same temperature as the conductor. This will help to prevent overheating and potential fire hazards. When running power to an outbuilding, there are a number of national electrical code requirements that you need to keep in mind to ensure safety and code compliance. Let's address the questions in detail, providing code references where applicable. Firstly, regarding the 125.39d reference, it pertains to the overcurrent protection of subpanels. This section of the NEC essentially states that a subpanel cannot be fed by a breaker or fuse that is smaller than the total calculated load of the circuits it serves. In simpler terms, if you have a subpanel with multiple circuits and the sum of the amperage ratings of all those circuits exceeds 50 amps, You cannot feed the subpanel with a 50 amp breaker. The idea is to prevent overloading the feeder conductors that supply the subpanel. You need to calculate the total load that the subpanel will be subjected to and ensure that the feeder breaker is sized appropriately to handle the load. This calculation should include all connected loads, with allowances for future expansion. Secondly, concerning the neutral conductor to the three-phase panel, NEC section 250.33 generally requires that a neutral conductor be run to all service equipment, including three-phase panels. While your 240-volt three-phase equipment might not explicitly need a neutral for its operation, there are several reasons why a neutral is still required. 1. Future load considerations. You might add single-phase 120-volt loads to the panel in the future, which would require a neutral connection. 2. Harmonic currents. Nonlinear loads can generate harmonic currents that flow on the neutral conductor. 3. Voltage stability. The neutral conductor provides a stable reference point for voltage measurements and helps to maintain voltage balance in the system. 4. Ground fault protection. The neutral conductor is connected to the grounding electrode system, which provides a path for fault current to return to the source. Therefore, even if your current equipment doesn't require a neutral, it is generally best practice to run a neutral conductor to the panel to comply with the NEC and provide for future flexibility. Thirdly, regarding equipment grounding conductor wire type, the equipment grounding conductor, or EG, can be any wire type that is approved for use as an equipment grounding conductor. This includes THHN, XHHN, and use conductors. The primary function of the EGC is to provide a low impedance path for fault current to return to the source, tripping the overcurrent protection device and energizing the circuit in the event of a fault. The EGC must be sized according to NEC Table 250.122, which bases the EGC size on the size of the overcurrent protection device protecting the circuit. You can use THHN, XHHN, or use for the EGC, as long as they are properly sized and installed according to the NEC. Keep in mind that if the EGC is installed underground, it must be suitable for direct burial. Finally, concerning URD and use conductor temperature ratings, the temperature rating of URD aluminum conductor is generally the same as that of use conductor, which is typically 90 degrees Celsius. This temperature rating refers to the maximum temperature that the conductor can withstand under continuous operation without degrading its insulation. The ampacity of the conductor is determined by its temperature rating, as well as other factors such as the ambient temperature and the insulation method. NEC Table 310.15b16 provides ampacity values for various conductor types and sizes, based on their temperature rating. It is important to select a conductor with a temperature rating that is appropriate for the application, and to direct the ampacity of the conductor if necessary to account for high ambient temperatures or other factors. The National Electrical Code, or NEC, is a comprehensive set of standards that govern the safe installation of electrical wiring and equipment. It is published by the National Fire Protection Association, or NFPA, and is updated every 3 years. The NEC is widely adopted by states and municipalities throughout the United States, and it is essential for electricians and other electrical professionals to be familiar with its requirements. The NEC covers a wide range of topics, including wiring methods, overcurrent protection, grounding, and equipment installation. It is a complex document, and it is important to consult the NEC directly for specific requirements. This explanation is for educational purposes only and should not be considered a substitute for professional electrical advice. Always consult with a qualified electrician before performing any electrical work. It is important to familiarize yourself with the National Electrical Code and to follow all applicable codes and regulations to ensure the safety of yourself and others.